Hey folks, welcome to another weekly update. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate folk that support these videos. Please do continue to like them, hit that subscribe button and share this content with folks, because there is a lot of work that goes on behind these and a lot of time, my own personal time, that goes into them. So any support is much appreciated from you all. Now, it's been a fairly quiet week in terms of news. There are a few things that I've picked out, so I want to talk about them. First bit of Azure news is around a public preview that is there for virtual machines and restore points. So let me read out what they've actually announced officially. So it says, today we're announcing the public preview of VM Restore Point, a new resource that stores VM configuration and a point-in-time snapshot of one or more managed disks attached to your virtual machine inside Azure. So this sounds really exciting about being able to do that restore point and have that quick functionality to bring that back without having to enable really backup, or you should still enable backup and you still have to have DR, but these kind of snapshot and restore points are super quick for pulling back a quick mistake, whatever you need. So this is actually quite interesting. I'm definitely going to have a give it a go and see if it's in my tenant and see if I can use that. But that's an exciting feature, and I think a much asked for feature, to be quite honest, to bring in some kind of parity with some of the technology we've had on-prem for many years. So the second bit of news is around GitHub Codespaces. Now, for those that aren't familiar with GitHub's Codespaces, it's kind of like having a virtual machine that's configured with all the tools and settings that you need to do some coding, to deploy infrastructure as code, or write infrastructure as code, sorry. And it's a dedicated environment you can kind of spin up so that if you're on the move, if you're on traveling, then you can have that there. If you don't have a powerful enough machine to run all the tools that you want, or maybe even potentially you have broke everything on your local laptop and you need to quickly have an environment that's set up right for you, you can use things like GitHub Codespaces. Now, something that people have complained about is the fact that if there's a period of inactivity on your code space, then it will get kind of spun down and it'll stop ultimately, which isn't fantastic, as I don't think that was configurable until now. So you can now configure that. So you can say that if your GitHub Codespaces is inactive for 5 minutes, it can stop, or you can have it all the way up to 4 hours. So you've got that play of being able to configure the inactivity setting. So from 5 minutes to 4 hours, I believe. So you can configure that depending on what you want, because I believe the previous setting was 30 minutes. So that wasn't great. Maybe if you disappeared for your lunch and had a 45-minute lunch and came back and your code space was stopped. So now you can configure that setting. So definitely have a look at that if you're using GitHub Codespaces and set that that inactivity figure to what you need. Now, the third bit of news and the general kind of tech news is actually quite an interesting one. So here in the UK, they're looking to phase out 2G and 3G mobile phone signals by 2033. Now, you're probably sitting there going, Sarah, I've got a 5G device. I don't care about this. This is not something that we really need to worry about. And why are you even telling me about it? Because who uses anything other than 4G or 5G nowadays? However, this is an interesting point. To be quite honest, when I read the article, it highlighted some things that I hadn't thought about. Now, my elderly uncles who are in their 70s, 80s have a mobile phone that's the most basic. It's not a smartphone. It probably even has the original Nokia Snake type game on it that they use just in case of emergencies when they're going out. They don't use a mobile phone other than that. Genuinely, they don't use a mobile phone other than having it in case the emergency, if they break down at the side of the road type thing. And that mobile phone is probably really legacy. I'm probably going to have have a word with them and check how old that is, because if they turn off the 2G and 3G signal, albeit it's going to be in 2033, that phone won't work. And there's a lot of devices that probably won't work. There are things like gas meters on your house that potentially use those older signals, that 2G, 3G signal. I think I even have an iPad that has Wi-Fi cellular data enabled on it. And I think it only goes up to a 3G signal when I've used that. Albeit I mostly use that now just for traveling or watching movies when I don't have a Wi-Fi signal. But those are the types of things that you might have to watch out for. So if you have like an old iPad kicking about that you give your kids and you use it with a cheap kind of cellular phone, a SIM card, then you're going to have to maybe update that. Again, they're saying that it's going to be phased out by 2033, sorry. But that's going to roll around quite quick, and if they start to roll it out quicker, then yeah, you're going to have issues and you're maybe not going to know what's happened. So there's going to be a big buy-in to actually do this, and there's going to have to be a lot of manufacturers, a lot of different things that are changing. Because if you think about it, 5G is a great signal. I get 5G sometimes when I'm standing out in the garden, but I definitely get it in some of the major cities here in Scotland. That's not rolled out everywhere yet. There are places in Scotland I've been to this year that have only 3G or 4G signal because that's all that they have. So there has to be a bigger rollout. So it's a massive piece of work, actually, to be honest, here. But it's something I just wanted to make you all aware of in case something happened and people started, or your friends and family started saying, actually, my phone's not working and stuff like that. And you can think back to the fact that it's not enabled for anything above 3G. So yeah, that's kind of my news this week, or the tech news. I had a great session with Lisa Clark, or Lisa at the Edge, the other day. We did a live AMA. We actually went for an hour and 40 minutes chatting, and it was great to have a lot of you community members there asking questions and interacting with our discussion. It is, I'm going to be completely biased, it is worth having a watch if you haven't already tuned in, if you weren't there for the live stream. There's lots of information, lots of topics we covered. We covered mental health, kind of burnout, how to deal with that, how to recognise that. Women in tech, how we feel about it, how our opinions have changed in the last few years about that. What else did we cover? We covered off content creation, how to get started. We covered off our plans for 2022 and just had fun. It was a really good, engaging session. So again, if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's definitely worth checking out. So yeah, I hope you're having a good one, everybody, and I will catch you in my next video. See you later, folks.